Welcome to the Soul to Scene podcast. I'm Andy Cooper from RMS Motoring, and today I'm joined by Gary Riley.
Ho, ho, ho.
And Ross Annett.
What is happening?
And it's a bit of a Christmas 23 show, the last one of the year. If you missed our last episode, Gary and I were with some other RMSers over at the Classic Car Show in the NEC. Yes. So we were actually live from the show, and there's half an hour of ramblings about why that's an excellent event. So there's no. We'll don't think we'll talk about it too much unless there's anything particular.
No, I think we've waxed lyrical enough about it. Just go to it. It's great.
It's hard to beat. So in this show, a bit of a roundup of the year. Another great year for car shows and all the rest. But we have a Cybertruck, and I wanted to mention the Cybertruck. We didn't talk about the Cybertruck last time, did we? No. And it's now been seen out in the roads. We've seen Musk and his smug face annoying people with it. You see stupid people on YouTube saying about, it has an exoskeleton, or it can do this, or it can do that. At the same time, quite striking.
I really, really, really like it. I know people, it's just so weird, but it's the angles of it, the size of it, it's completely different.
Well, it has to be the Northern Irish connection. The stainless body, like the DeLorean.
Yeah.
The folks DeLorean because of the shape of thing, 100%.
Have you seen the matte black one, though? I think it looks 10 times better.
Oh, really? You see?
Yeah. There's a photo of a matte black one. I'll see if I can dig it out here for the show notes.
Have you seen a painted DeLorean? There's a couple of them. I've never seen a green one, but it has to be. At the same time, yes, I understand. It'd be nice and different colour. Oh, right, okay. It looks very Blackbird.
Military, kind of like it would slip under the police radar, possibly.
Will they age really badly?
Well, we thought that. Think about that there, the Focus when it first came out. Remember when Rocco had the triangle painted Focus?
Oh, no. The Focus was... I don't think the Focus was an offensive vehicle when it came out.
I see what you're saying. I don't think this will age badly, because I've got this theory that cars that age badly only do so because you draw references with other cars that are similar to them, and they've moved on. Mm-hmm. Whereas this here is totally unique. Any cars I can think of in the past that are very unique looking, I don't think they've aged that badly. They might have, taillights could look old and bit 80s and things like that there, but the core shape of it, no.
Well, you see, I'm thinking of like a 70s supercar and I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but what I'm thinking is something that they tried to make futuristic.
Stratus?
Looking. Yeah, well, Stratus or something, like the wedge shoe or something like that there, now the Stratos has the rally heritage, so that does help.
Yeah. It's a car I never liked.
It's a wee bit frog-eyed and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, there was just something about it. And then, do you remember when you would have been playing like Sega Rally and the likes of that there? The Stratos was like the unicorn car.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Do you know, there's a great video from the Tesla engineering team, in fairness, and the design team, and they, quite unlike Tesla, to have the guys out front and centre saying, well, look, here's how we designed it. We didn't have the same production problems like we had with Model 3, ramp-up hell, they would call it, and all that sort of stuff. But they had a Series 1 Lotus Esprit in the background, which is a wee wedge car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you can see where,
there's cues.
There are, well, that's the thing, there are design cues. It's not just, right, we designed this with a ruler and a pencil by a school kid.
Sven on the forum makes it really clear as to why it is ruler and angular. That's because stainless steel is so hard to work with, and especially the thickness of the Cybertruck. Mm-hmm. There are very limited shapes and angles you can make, and the fact that they're able to get a uniformity with everyone they're producing.
Yeah.
And obviously
as much as Tesla do.
As much as Tesla, yeah. There's obviously all the shots putting up of like panel gap and things like that there. But something? I just think they're awesome. I really do.
And the panel gap thing isn't even an interesting one. Gary's just showing us a red Cybertruck here in the photos.
I like it. It's racy.
But is that not just that's just a Photoshop, isn't it?
It's a Photoshop, sadly, yeah. But it shows you what, add a bit of colour in, and it actually does work.
Tesla can manufacture cars reasonably well now. Mm-hmm. The new Model 3s, the ones that are made in Shanghai or in Berlin or whatever, they are built a lot better. So maybe as the world cars are built, they'll be in better shape. We're not getting them. because they're not going to be right-hand drive. They're probably never going to be type approved for the UK or Europe.
I think that's what the main thing we're saying was for European crash testing. There's no chance that that 3 ton of stainless steel.
Yeah, because even the Carwow test was in America, wasn't it? They had some kind of a weird, they did a recent drag strip race, but it wasn't their normal venue. Like they normally use a runway somewhere, but this looked like a new road that was halfway through being built.
The Carwow test or the drag race was actually at the back of the Tesla factory.
Was it?
Yep.
So all I could see was mounds of earth and pipes lying and things. Yeah, there was something going on.
And in his book, in Musk's, the Walter Isaacson book, that part of the factory, when they were building the Model 3, they didn't have enough space to build enough cars. They wanted to get 5,000 cars a week or whatever it was. So they had to buy like temporary structures and build the cars out in the yard.
Class.
Mad. But the best, you're saying about drag racing these things, the best drag race was Musk and the trolling he did of Port. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So he had
Epic.
You have to watch the video. We'll put the video in the show notes. It is a Cybertruck versus probably just a base spec 911. Absolutely trouncing it in the drag strip.
But it's well shot because at the start you only see the front half of both cars.
We'll not give it away in case people haven't seen it.
Worth watching.
No spoilers, but and a bit of trolling's good fun. And it's the right place for him to do trolling, not him doing let that sink in and buying Twitter and making a mess of it.
But again, do you know what's cool about him is that he literally doesn't care. Did you see his interview where they talked about Disney pulling the plug on Twitter? Did you see that?
He was not happy about Disney, the head of Disney, anyway.
Nope.
No.
Fair play to him.
Well,
to be in his position, how cool.
I know, but I think he's taking his eye off the ball. He should be focusing on building rockets and building cars. He doesn't need the whole X thing and Twitter is just. It's not even a vanity project. It was down back to him being bullied at school, and now he owns the playground.
Yeah,
isn't that how every entrepreneur gets where they are? There's something driving them from their childhood or whatever.
That's true.
That's basically what he said was free speech. He thought it was worth whatever money he could afford to put in, and that's where go back to, as you said, the bully or the guy who's bullied now being in a position to basically fuck you money, and that's what he said. It's if you think that you can do this by controlling free speech, I'll buy Twitter and let people say what they want on it, and will not be cancelling anybody, will not be doing this and that. So,
and it's going well for him.
It really is.
Well, he cancelled a lot of Twitter staff. Maybe not the posters.
75% or something like that there of the staff. Unbelievable. But I say unbelievable too much. We're not here to talk about corporations and their firing practices.
No.
The Cybertruck, fair play to him that he's managed to get time to do it between all the tweeting and firing he's doing. Get us to Mars and make better electric cars. That's what we want.
First tweet from Mars will be a good one.
Absolutely. But last show of the year, I'm trying to think what else there is. Another big thing that happened recently. Did any of you watch the Ken Block's last video that was filmed before he passed away in an untimely fashion, the Electricana 2?
Do you know something? I haven't seen it yet. I've been waiting to watch it.
Yeah.
I've been watching all the rest in the prelude up to it just to kind of go back to it, but I still haven't watched the new one.
Well, without giving you too many spoilers, it takes on a totally different dimension now the man's not here.
Do you think that was done post-production because he's not here, or was it just the way it was shot at the time?
Both ways. So obviously when they are producing these things, they have GoPro. I think they're sponsored by GoPro. They've GoPros everywhere, so they've loads of extra footage. You can tell the way the film has been put together. You have the standard, when you say standard Gymkhana, the spectacular looking Gymkhana that probably, in all honesty, if Ken was still here, people, you would get the EV haters out and stuff like that. Whereas now it takes on a whole different, different
dimension.
Yeah, different dimension. Like the guy was, it took the guy to be a long time to be liked in the rallying community. Yeah, because they were like, well, he's just, out there to.
He's just out to hoon a car.
They didn't get what he was doing and the profile he was raising, the profile he was building. Whereas I think now, unfortunately, in hindsight, how much he's done for Audi and EVs and all that stuff. So you look at it differently, and yes, there's a lot more behind the scenes and a lot more of Ken You know,
Okay.
it's definitely a tribute to that rather than just pure Gymkhana, but it's also the pure typical Gymkhana. They took over Mexico City.
Okay,
You know,
no, that's
so
cool.
Yeah, so it is, and like Mexico City Airport and all. You know, it's just, and it's madness. You know,
It's
cool.
Ken Block doing what Ken Block did.
Yeah,
Like nobody else can.
yeah, and that's the thing too. I think he had done it before in Vegas with a Hunatron,
Love the Vegas one.
which was great. And as I say, it could have been if things were differently. Probably some people think more of the same because Travis Pastrana did that other video where he jumped out he jumped out the roof of a hotel and parachuted down.
Wrecked himself.
Yeah, you know, all that stuff's amazing. So yeah, it does take on a different quality. Look, very, very sad that the guy's no longer with us, but it's well worth a watch. It's actually great this time of year. You wonder what have we got to talk about, but some of these wee things appear out, like the Cybertruck, like the Electricana Hunatron,
Curiosities.
and other curiosities. The big one is that at the moment Top Gear is on the shelf. It effectively means there's going to be no more Top Gear TV show.
Yeah.
And I saw Chris Harris talking about it on TV there because he has a book out. I haven't read it yet, and I'm going to read it, but I've asked Santa for it. So I think it's called, isn't it something like Variable Valve Timings is the title of it. Great title. So I'm looking forward to reading
Forward
that.
by Porter, no?
No, I think Clarkson did the
Clarkson?
No, sorry, I'm talking nonsense. Clarkson did a forward for, or one of those guys did forward for one of Porter's books, actually, but good point. I don't know, I haven't read it yet. I say I've asked Santa for it, so I'm looking forward to having a read. But yeah, the Paddy and Co. Top Gear is no more, which is pretty sad. It's pretty sad the way it happened.
It is. It really, you know, Top Gear has been, for all of us, an institution.
Yeah.
You know, something we've grown up with. We've seen it from, you know, the Quentin Wilson days, you know, when it was kind of, you know,
Much more
boring.
stiff, kind of.
Yeah, just very, you know, driving, you know, people talking
regular
about,
reviews.
Regular reviews with nothing.
How many suitcases can you fit in
Yeah.
a book type exercise? Yeah.
You know, and you saw it going from that there to Tiff, who was bringing in the first bit of Carry On, to then go to the
Tiff and VBH and all the rest. Unreal.
into Jeremy Clarkson and Co., which is the one that we all kind of like really did get, you know, our teeth sunk into. I really, as soon as Chris Harris came on it, I loved Chris Harris on it. I had been watching him on YouTube for years at that stage. The guy got a lot of flack because they thought he was boring, he was whatever else, but I thought he was fantastic and I thought he was a perfect fit to it. I really liked the mix then of Joey Tribbiani. I did like him on it, and a lot of people didn't, but again, I thought he brought a different dynamic to it. Chris Evans was quite forgettable. You know,
Oh no, Chris Evans was awful.
Yeah,
Chris Evans nearly killed it. The best thing Chris Evans did was walk away.
Yeah.
he was
For such a car guy, it was actually surprising. Like, cause he has a great collection of stuff, and he's massively into cars.
car nut, and he still is. Like, I listen to Chris Evans every morning. You know, that's the breakfast radio I listen to.
Yep.
He does this car fest thing every year.
That's right.
But yeah, he just didn't click with Top Gear.
No, he was awful, and he made the right decision. He probably saw. I don't know how he thought as he was going through the program how committed he was. You know, he's thinking, right, you know, how far do I have to go here? But this isn't working out. But he nearly killed it.
He definitely did.
Well, the problem too is he was following directly in the footsteps of the Freak
of
before,
course,
so there's
of
direct
course.
comparisons there, and I don't think he was ever going to hit those heights.
No, he never was. And then I have to say, I really did enjoy the Paddy McGuinness, the Freddie Flintoff, and Chris Harris. I thought
they were gelling really well.
I thought things were going really well with them, and the show wasn't just being churning out the same as what Top Gear had been, and really trying to copy and emulate what Clarkson, Ham and May were doing. I thought they were having their own dynamic and things were working. Yes, Freddie was still the kind of gung ho, you know, I give everything a go here.
Yeah.
But he was brilliant at what he'd done.
Some of the stuff that Freddie did was mad. Like the what was the one he was in a metro off the
That's
edge
right,
of
hanging off the edge of
a dam, wasn't it? You know, so stuff like that's just mad.
Yeah.
So, or there was the it was the motorcycle tribute that Paddy did was excellent
That's
as
right.
well. So stuff
The
like that.
Evil Knievel thing.
Yeah, it was brilliant. So there was things like that in recent Top Gear. They did a real good job. Again, it's one of those things now that it's not there in hindsight. You probably get people who the detractors maybe turn around and go, Well, do you know what? Actually, it wasn't too bad. You know, when they gurned about it at the time or whatever else. But what it does mean, because the Grand Tour is ending as well, although it ran out of steam a while ago.
Yeah, it did.
Although I think I haven't watched the most recent stuff, but some people saying it had picked up.
Are they doing? Am I right in saying is there a Grand Tour Christmas special, or is this one of the final ones that they're doing? Is that due to come up?
I think there's one more series or one more show to come. But what that means is there'll be no longer any sort of big TV presence car show, apart from Wheeler Dealers, which isn't really the same.
But I think things were going that way anyway, to be honest, Andy, because like, look what we're doing now. We're in a podcast. You know, I listen to radio in the morning, but apart from that there, I don't listen to radio during the rest of the day. Like, it's Spotify or it's a podcast or it's an audiobook. I think with our kind of insatiable desire to have what we want there and then, having to wait once a week for a TV show to come out, they are things of the past. And when you look at your YouTube as a prime example, you know, I've got Matt Armstrong. I want to see what he's trying to fit, trying to see what he's, you know, fixing or building or wrecking. I watch Car Wow because I just love seeing the drag races. And again, I'm not particularly interested in the car reviews. It's just to see what Matt Watson's doing. I've subscribed recently to that other maniac drives around the ring, Misha. Everybody else gets it. So I think that's kind of the way for viewers now, and for people obviously younger than us who want to have instant access to whatever you want. The days of the TV programs like Top Gear and the Grand Tour and that there, I think they were numbered anyway.
I totally agree. For us, you know, I think there's lots of reasons why Top Gear isn't going ahead, and a few of them are to do with obviously the magic chemistry of the original three presenters hasn't quite been replicated. Plus, it's just a change in culture nowadays. That kind of laddish behaviour maybe isn't selling as well with the current audiences. But then, as you say, you also now live in an age where things are very different to 20 years ago, where it was quite a novelty turning on a Sunday night and watching a Ferrari hunting around or something like that there. People want instant consumption now, and you can go to YouTube at any time, and you'll find as many car videos on as many topics as you want, and you can search by keyword and narrow it down to your own particular, you know, favourites or whatever. But it's not even just that. The quality on YouTube is fantastic. And a lot of these guys are free of the kind of regulations and the production crews, and they're doing things themselves, and they're making a good income from it, and they're able to reinvest that money back into the audio and the video. And some of the stuff I see on there, like it's impressed me more than what I've seen in Top Gear over the years, to be honest. So I just think Top Gear's kind of run its course. I don't know if it'll ever be back. I think if it did come back, it would have to be in some kind of online format, not the Sunday night and BBC. I think that, you know, they probably missed a beat there. They probably could have really pushed their YouTube or online media channels more.
Well, I was going to say the Top Gear magazine's YouTube channel is very, very good. Yeah. You know, and they really have stepped up their game. I think Jethro Bovin's actually driving for them at the moment. So,
but that was always seen as kind of a side thing to the main show, whereas they probably should have tried to turn it around the other way.
Did Roy Reid, did he... Remember Roy Reid then after he left the Top Gear? Is that kind of the avenue he went? Did he done everything?
He's went to the Auto Trader, and so he's fronting their YouTube channel. Okay. And actually, what Rory says, and you can take as much out of this as you can, Wolf, and is from what I've read in interviews, is him going to Auto Trader, he's allowed a lot more creative input. Yeah. Rather than being part of the Top Gear machine. And he says that's why he said, you know, when you get YouTubers would struggle to go into TV because they're part of a rigid format rather than them coming up with all the ideas all of the time.
Yeah,
because it's not just Top Gear controls; it's BBC controls over the production,
and even different things as well. Like, you know, again, did any of you see the accidental collaboration? But you know, maybe it was, but Nico from here, Nico van der Horst and Matt Armstrong, where they were driving and they met up with each other, and then they were both hooning across. But
this was a European road trip thing in a Ferrari or something,
and where so both of them
were donuts and police, and not feeding the police here.
But that's kind of I really do think these kind of YouTube collaborations between people in different fields sometimes and whatever else, you know, this is kind of what we want to see, because again, that opened up then, you know, people who are watching, you know, the Matt channel and whatever else, then seeing Nico in this class Ferrari who end up fucking it, but got it fixed and everything worked out okay in the end, and it turned out it was a battery. But again, it's how they stretched it then from one 20-minute episode into 4 20-minute episodes, which is obviously great for their revenue, for their viewers, for everything else. And that kind of feeds the way that because that put me from watching, again, Matt rebuilding whatever else, into then going on watching some of Nico's videos. And I know he's a guy who gets a lot of flack, but you know something, he can be what he wants. He's still driving a £500,000 Ferrari around, modified, hooning it around the place. Went, stayed in Monaco, done whatever else. Fair play to the guy.
So I think the thing that I think we're missing is that what used to be called the water cooler moment. You know, so a big Top Gear trip around someone far flung, or even the to the south of France or something like that, and a lot of people are watching it, and then we're all talking about it. Whereas you're talking about Nico, and I'm talking about Chris Harris, and Gary, you're talking about someone else, and okay, it's fine because you're hearing bits and pieces of different things, but you don't have that shared experience like watching a big series on Netflix or something like that.
Yeah, that's very true.
So and actually, there's nothing like that really now. So that's in my mind, that's a gap at the very top of the.
That probably
mark.
is the downside of looking towards the social media kind of way of doing motoring videos, is that people will have their own playlists, their own favourites. And they will differ from person to person quite a lot. Whereas, as you say, Top Gear was this kind of anchor on a Sunday night that everyone tuned in and watched.
It's interesting. Have you seen? Then you guys have Disney Plus. Have you seen the way you can invite somebody to watch with you? Have you seen that?
Well, I've seen that in many services. I've never actually used it there yet. So, I was like, flipping, get your own.
Yeah.
Even though they have it, obviously. I realise how it works.
You're not card sharing that. But that's kind of...
Sounds like some kind of Tinder type.
I think that could be...
What, everyone watches you together, Ross? What type of service is this you're talking about?
It would be a very poorly subscribed one.
Exactly.
I can promise you that.
No fans?
Bambi, my house, 7 p.m. Be there, be square.
But yeah, that's the sort of thing. Is did you see this and the other? And click to, watch this with me. Watch the Ken Block Hoonigan with me at the same time.
Yes. I like a watch party type thing. Yeah.
Cool.
So, but I don't know. I'd say we're just missing that magic.
Yeah.
That top level. Anyway, so no more Top Gear. Chris Harris has a book out. Ken Block, Electricana. On to more mundane things. Good old RMS and the RMS forum. The font of all knowledge. The fun I have had this week making Lego pictures of things. So there is the AI Lego thread on RMS, which is full of members' cars realised in Lego thanks to the Bing AI everyone's using to build these things.
I can't quite understand. Like I've been looking at AI images for a while and really impressed by what it can do. All different formats and categories, but Lego seems to have just really grabbed everyone's imagination this week for some reason.
Oh well, and it's the time of year, and my daughter's playing with Duplo. And I remember loving Lego as a kid, and Lego Technics and all that stuff. And I remember building a digger or something like that there in Lego Technics. But just love. Everyone loves Lego. Everyone loves like Minecraft and all that sort of stuff. We love all that blocky stuff. And I think it appeals to my inner kid. And maybe because I have a wee one as well, I'm more predisposed to like Christmas time, and I'm definitely getting a lot more into it than I used to be. I'm less Grinch-worthy than I was, and there's definitely something about seeing my C63 estate made from Lego just give me that warm and fuzzy feeling, and makes me want to go down to Smith's and buy a GT3, just like everyone else on RMS does.
Like everybody else in RMS.
Not jealous or nothing.
Again, it's just one of those things where everybody's jumping on it now, because it's kind of, when you take the two sides of it, yes, Lego's cool, and yes, it's making your car look, again, it's why we post to Instagram, it's why we do this and that. Everybody loves photographs of their own car or the things that they love. This Lego thing, as you said, but it's just the intricacies of it, the fact that you can type in a command into a search engine and it produces sometimes hilarious things, but what do you want back? And you can tweak it, you can do different things. It's hilarious. It is funny, but it's amazing, and it's frightening at the same time.
I think there's a bit of that kind of sense of anticipation when you're waiting the 10 seconds to see what it comes up with. Like, is it going to be something really magical?
Modem days.
Yeah, you're just waiting there, and it's like, oh, I didn't expect it to do that.
Yeah.
Did you see there was a brilliant one of someone had done like a Bora outside the elk, but the elk was this big black Medusa-headed thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the elk bar, because obviously Bing AI does not know when we talk about the elk in
Doesn't
Mid-Ulster.
distinguish.
Yeah. So, but so stuff like that is
It's
mental, but just a lot of fun. But at the same time, if you're an artist, if you're a graphic artist that could produce something like that after days and days of work, and now
10 seconds.
Bing can produce it in 10
When you
seconds.
consider it, like, this is their jobs, this is their things, in the blink of an eye, and it's not there yet. And I think that's what people need to realize, that this is the beta stage. Really, this is all of us nerds getting it to do loads and loads of things. It's learning what we're doing right, and it is learning what it is doing right and doing wrong, whether we like it or whether we're asking for more things. I think this first iteration of it, which is already really, really impressive, I think what way is good. Am I right in saying, any of you guys into Photoshop, I think Photoshop now has an AI kind of where you used to have to lasso tools and whatever else. Now you don't even have to be that particularly adept on Photoshop anymore, and you can basically tell it what you want it to do. So,
well, sure, even you take a message on your iPhone, you can just hold your thumb on a person and copy it out, and it just paste it in. It takes all the background out and stuff like that.
Yeah. Some of the stuff, like, it's scary too, because it's so photorealistic already. Can you imagine in 50 years what it's going to be like? Well, and that will be the thing. How will you tell the real thing from something that's generated? Yeah,
totally. If you're talking to someone on the phone, it used to be a thing of a Mission Impossible type thing, but now an AI generated voice is going to, imagine an AI generated version of my Glengormley twang. You know what I mean?
This will be an AI podcast. We'll not be here.
Take a few flipping NVIDIA cards to replicate my voice. And on more mundane terms, AI is what they're using to train cars for autonomous driving, which will be, rather than a rule-based system, right, you come up to a traffic light, stop. If it goes green, you go, stay between the white lines, look out for the vehicles and all the rest, which seems to be fine up to a point, but anyone who's used like adaptive cruise and all the rest, it can work great in a very straightforward motorway situation and falls to pieces on a back road. That's where AI can understand language, and it can understand images the way we understand it in a general way. Then that will be a game changer. Hating to use that phrase, but for autonomous driving. Not a great thing. Well, a good thing for the commuting and stuff like that, but it does mean that less people I think are taking interest in cars. But it will hurt that as well, because people will just be, well, I don't need a steering wheel.
Yeah,
just get into a seat and take me to wherever I'm going.
And I can sit on my phone and go on to Bing AI and draw Lego pictures.
Exactly.
Of cars that we used to drive.
Yeah. Well, the other thing if you're a big Musk fan is to look at Neuralink. And look at the video of them with the chimp or whatever playing Pong without a joystick, using his brainwaves. Stuff like that there.
He'll be on X next tweeting.
Just to fry your mind. I know, I will be. All that for 280 characters now, isn't that what we get?
Yeah.
That's the sign of progress. But anyway, do you know what I love? Do you know what I was thinking when I was coming down to this? It was down in the Merc. What I love about the Merc, and this is properly old school.
Refueling it.
No,
every other day.
Don't love refueling it. But is a nice analog clock. And what really, and I'm such a weirdo or a child, but anyway, see, so the Merc analog clock reads up to 200 miles an hour, which first of all is immediate top trumps winner. How it only shows 140, 160. Your car must be slow. Speedo reads up to 200.
Yeah,
but the first half of the Speedo reads up to 60 in 10 mile an hour increments, and the second half of the Speedo reads to 200 in 20 mile an hour increments. So when so when you hit 60 miles an hour, the needle moves. It reads double in the same distance
at a different synchronicity.
Is that not very confusing?
it's weird. So then it flicks away up, and then it really slows down. But I really like it. I really like the thought that someone has went to, the detail someone's went. Well, you know what? You need to know if you're doing 15 or 20. But see, to be honest, in one of these, 120 and 160 is not that far away, so we don't care.
Have you never been driving like you're doing like 60, crossing to 61, 62, then you look down, you go, fuck, someone's rear-ended me. I'm now at 90.
No. See, I would have honestly put you as being the complete opposite. I thought that would have like triggered your OCD or something, the fact that every increment isn't the same.
Yeah, no, I actually love, because it just is, the implementation is so perfect, and it's a lovely clear clock. It is a red gauge, a black background, and white illuminated numerics. It's just perfect. We'll never see stuff like that anymore. I know my next car will just be a screen.
Will be a screen. Well, do you know, it's funny, my father-in-law, he had a couple of Aston Martins, and I loved the way that the needles in them went the other way.
I have never, I haven't driven an Aston Martin.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I don't know how I would like. What other cars have mad clocks? Trevor's have those.
Trevor's definitely have something weird on them.
And Trevor clocks don't actually have very much on them. It's almost like a stainless background with a stainless
There's no real
gauge.
surround, aren't they? They're kind of basic, but really eye-catching at the same time.
Yeah.
They don't go over the top.
But do you remember the whole thing? It used to be when you were buying cars in auctions out there, you knew it was an ex-police car because it had a calibrated clock. Do you remember that there? Do you remember the
So
whole
I've had a couple of cars with a calibrated clock, so yes, you have the sticker, but they also have the mile an hour increments on the clock as well.
But the fair was the clock, so they gave it away. It was the holes in the dash, the shotgun.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Do you remember, like, in the early 90s too, when the big thing, not the early 90s, early 00s, the big thing was to buy new Speedos, and they were always luminous green, or they would light up or something.
Which I was guilty of
Lockwood.
putting in
So
the
many
Civic.
were purchased,
Yeah, I think
and complete pain to fit too.
Yeah, like a white background with like blue, luminous blue. I think you could probably you had a wee controller, you could change the colour and all of it. Really, really tacky.
Remember then, like all the, like I would have called them like the Airfix nerds, the boys, and they would have not just put the clocks in, but with model paint, painted the needles in all different colours. So it was.
Yeah, well, you can only not pop the needle off and paint it with the same stuff you tinted rear lights with, like that red. I think I remember doing that once.
Sometimes you were winding the mileage back.
Some time for selling.
But again, like we're talking about things like this here, but those are times that we're never going to see again. I can remember when I had just finished school and I went to do a year in tech because I carried on too much in school, and
never imagine.
But didn't do much better in tech. What I ended up doing was spending every couple of days, you've been out at the scrapyard taking bits out of cars, and I was buying bits out of broken cars to sell them on, and had a wee side hustle. But I was driving a Mark IV Astra, and I think we've definitely put photographs up of that Mark IV Astra before.
I remember
it was the disaster. That was the right name for it. But I can remember buying a set of white SRI clocks and fitting them, because again, if you had white dials, you knew it was something a wee bit fancier, a wee bit sporty, whatever else. But again, everything now, BMWs have been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years. It's just full on TFT digital screens. And at the time when they were progressing into that there, it was the whole thing, but look at these beautiful TFT screens and how smooth and how everything it is. But now that we have it, and again, a wee bit like Top Gear, when now that it's gone, you're missing it. Now that analog clocks really are gone, because everything is everything is your interface there to control it.
Everything's on an LCD.
Your navigation, your radio, everything.
I'll tell you this, if you're growing up in the 80s and you were a fan of Knight Rider, there was nothing cooler than getting into an Astra GTE and seeing the digital clocks. There was no other car that I can think of had them then. Or if they were probably quite rare. But
well, the Carlton GSI had them, but I'll tell you what did have them. So, and I know this from speaking to Connor from Reload, is it the Digifant Dash from a Mark II Golf? But prior to that, I actually think the UR Quattro had you could get it with a Digi Dash as well. So there was a few really oddball cars, and was there some obscure Renaults? Was it like a Renault 21 special edition?
It rings a bell.
You could get a few oddball ones. I think there's a few oddball US cars. Some of the implementations were rubbish. I quite like the Vauxhall implementation, although I remember we went through a series of GSI Carltons, and most of them, had large parts of the Digi Dash didn't work. The rev counter just had a gap.
But they did that, and then you expected them maybe to evolve into the 90s and beyond, and then they didn't. There was very little in the 90s in terms of digital dash conversions or things. It was all analog dials. It's only now they've really come full circle, but now you're obviously getting high-res screens and HD quality.
Yeah,
it's literally is like TVs in your car now, and you probably see the Instagram feeds up all the time. You know, this is how to get Netflix in your car. You know, putting in something. It's crazy, really.
So I'm in a weird place. Like, I know I'm going to sell the C63 probably in 2024. Don't know exactly when. It's probably have to go for an EV. And so yes, I can look at it in a way.
Cybertruck.
I know. Except for you have to get like a grey import. God knows how much it would be.
Literally a grey import or a silver import.
Stainless import. But it's a weird position to be in, because I'm like, it's a nice position to be in, because yes, you're right, it's bankrupting because it's fairly hard to run, but nearly that's alright, because I'm like, well, I might only have to put another 10 tanks of fuel into this car before I sell it.
That's an interesting way to think about things.
And then so I now I'm like picking away things at it, and it's like, yeah, I really like the clocks, or the V8, or limited proper mechanical diff.
Yeah.
Except when it does, it's a wee bit of a one-wheeler sometimes, and then it hooks up and away you go.
Then it hooks up.
But
you probably will miss it a lot, I would say, just for the V8 alone.
Yeah, but and like the way it's used as well, like I'm driving the family about and stuff, so a lot of the time, because it's big displacement and a couple of turbos, it can cruise about under 1500 RPM to like 70 mile an hour. You don't need to, it just dribbles along.
Yeah.
But and then then I made myself think, I'm one of those people who I have one of these and don't drive it. But sometimes part of the thought of having something is the thought of what it can do as well, and generally sort of taking it in. You know,
it's having it there.
I'm swirling the C63 wine round the glass and giving it a sniff, rather than throwing the bottle into me most of the time that I used to be, you know.
Well, I went out the other morning and I'd forgotten totally that my car wasn't at home. It wasn't work for various reasons. So I had to take my son to school, and I took the 84. And it's kind of twisty B roads, free carried off and Drumbo and all there. And I think we did it in half the time. You know, because when you're driving the M4, obviously there's a lot more power and all there, but the suspension is so much stiffer and the roads are so much bumpier. And I was just making kind of effortless pace in this thing. And I got out of it on the way back, and I went like, do I really need the M4? I love driving it. I wouldn't miss it, but I can carry much more pace in a car like this. Now, I'm not saying I'll go for an 84, but maybe an SQ5 or something out there. Would it be actually more practical? I know I wouldn't get the same buzz, but it makes you think a little bit about it.
Big Pete always said the same thing, and he still has a variety of nice cars, and his Porsche is perfectly set up for back road B driving. And he said that when he had the Tesla, the Porsche wouldn't see what way it went. You know, and he said for that point to point, and he says back road, and he says, yeah, it's soulless, it can be wherever you want, he says, but it was fucking fast. And he said, and I don't care what you were driving down the back roads, very little would have sat with him in the Tesla.
Yeah.
So I met someone last week for a bite of lunch, and the place we were eating at was off a back road, and he was telling me he had a Citroen C4 for years. And I said, "You still have your Citroen C4s you had like for 16 years?" He's like, "No, I changed the car." And I was like, "What do you mean? A Tesla Model 3 Performance?" And I was like, "What? Like what a change!" So he says, "Have you driven one?" I was like, "I have. I think they're brilliant." I said, "That's a fantastic choice. What colour did you go for?" and all the rest. And it was great. So took it out for a run, and I went, it's about a year since I've driven one. But I had driven to the place in the C63, so I was getting into the C63 back to back. The roads were greasy and shit. And in the Tesla, you're just in, and no wheel spin, you know, and
no drama.
It's deploying all of its 450 horse. And then I get into the C63, and it's cold, and it's taking a while to warm up. And then it just wants to spin the wheels and traction control, and you're going nowhere. The Tesla would have been gone.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Now, and yes, the steering in the C63 far nicer front end, and you can actually have a bit of feel compared to the dumb feeling and the very fast rack of the Tesla. But even still, the Tesla just totally outperforms it.
Yeah,
on the road in those sorts of conditions, it's just gone. You know, so and it felt like a much safer place to be.
Yeah,
in those sort of conditions as well.
And they kind of don't want to admit it, you know, but it does perform better. But then There's also the pros and cons. You miss the noise of the C63, the V8.
Oh, totally.
And there's a certain feel to it that you're not going to get in a Tesla.
So that's what's like. Well, that's probably what I'm going to end up in. So like, remember all the bits that I like. There was a reason that we had internal combustion cars for so long.
It's easy for us to kind of we make judgment calls based on you've driven it for half an hour on a back road or a comparison. But if you actually were driving it a couple of days away on holiday or something like that, there, would you enjoy the Tesla as much? Like say you took something over the Nürburgring, for example, that kind of cross-continental drive, you'd probably have more crack in the C63 than you would the Tesla.
Without a doubt, like the Tesla or any sort of EV quickly becomes a daily appliance.
Yeah.
Really. But that's nearly what the C63 is. I'm just very lucky that I'm able to use it as an appliance. It's like, right, no, take it in. This is something nice you have here. You're not going to have it forever.
Yeah.
Take in what you have. Also, I would highly recommend buying one. I actually highly recommend buying both. They're both great. If I could keep everything, I would keep everything. I can't.
Not everybody's got the same money as you do through RMS sponsorship, Andy.
Oh, here we go, Ross. If you would stop throwing at me in pallets, for fuck's sake. Anyway, that's why he doesn't have any Black Fridays, not right?
That's why I chose not as a small
Dear
business.
Customers. Gary, anything else on your mind?
Well, I was chatting about the back roads there, and our kind of spin off of that there is the shape of the roads. Like, is it just me, or are they really the worst I've seen in a long time?
Awful.
And I know this time of year the weather's horrible and you've a lot of rain and potholes start to appear and people complain about it every single year in RMS, but it just seems like they're worse than I've seen in decades.
Grim.
Yeah, everywhere I go, like roads that used to be quite good, now I'm seeing major potholes in them and no sign of any repairs coming.
Ross has just shown us an absolutely disgusting pothole. A pothole beside a manhole cover.
A pothole beside a manhole
cover. Like that's just a wheel wrecker.
It is,
100%.
And that's what I done this week. This pothole is 30 inches long by 15 inches wide by 5 inches deep.
Ross always has his measuring tape with him.
Unfortunately, I have to.
No, that's horrendous.
It was disgusting.
There was one recently on Hill Hall Road, right on the main section of the road, and it was very deep, and it was there for, I'd say, a good 2.5, 3 weeks. There's that road, if you know it, gets a high volume of traffic. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised nobody even came and filled it with something just to tide them over until they could get proper tarmac in it. But this doesn't seem to be getting addressed, and I know that's probably down to the way the government situation here.
Yeah, I don't know what if DRD's budgets are in the toilet or,
I think there was some statistics were out last year that DRD spent more in pothole claims than it would have cost them in pothole repairs. And that photograph I just I showed you there now. So the reason I had the tape measure that was because I did ding a wheel in it, and DRD say go back and measure the hole and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And when I went back 2.5 hours later, the police were there because there was a young girl, and our driver had slowed down to stop because the pothole was there. At that stage, somebody had put a cone or something on it, and a van driver ran into the back of her because she was stopped to let it go. So
it all stems from that. So
it all stems literally from DRD, and that was only one along that section road between Ballinhinch and Downpatrick, a 4-mile section road, and there was at least 5 or 6 of those there, big, ridiculously big, and that's a bad road as well, because again, much like Hill Hall, there's a high volume of traffic.
Yeah.
And I'm just reading here, actually, so online people saying, well, injury claims as well. So not only, so the effect of, they don't repair the potholes, and there's more accidents, there's more injury claims. The whole thing spirals out of control, so...
And it's not even just the bad potholes themselves. Some of the roads, just the surface is terrible, the quality of it.
Shocking.
Ruts in it and things like that there.
I think of that weather we've had recently, and Phil D was telling us about the bad accident there recently.
That's right, on Crawfordsburn direction, or Bangor direction.
Yeah, near Crawfordsburn, wherever it was, someone hit the standing water and...
Young driver.
Hit the car in the roof or something, didn't they?
And it wasn't going fast, I think he said, either. It was just, unfortunate.
No, the roads are in a desperate state, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever road cycled. I took a notion of it a couple of years ago and haven't been on it since, or not since, I haven't been out on the bike really much this year at all. But if you want to see how bad the roads are, jump on a bicycle and do a couple of miles along any road you wish.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Just the levels of unevenness and bumps and holes and everything. And that's what we're paying. What's your road tax in the Merc? About 500 a year?
550, something like that there.
Yeah, I'm sure you're similar in the M4.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm paying between the 3 cars or the 2 cars in the van, I'm paying £1,400 a year, £1,500 a year.
I think Merc's the 385. The Lotus is a big tax, but so I think it's 385.
But that's what we're paying a year. So between the 3 of us
Where's
here,
it going?
there's
not going on
there's
road repairs?
there's £2,000 a year on road tax.
Yep.
And where in the name of God is it going?
Yep. Never mind the tax we pay on fuel and all the rest. Yeah. Oh, that's a happy.
That's a happy wee bit.
Lovely. So just grumble about our... but they are shit, so what else can we say? Flipping DRD, get your shit together. Politicians, get back into Stormont.
Oh, fuck.
There's £2.5 billion there to retar our roads. But use it.
But put a claim in. That's anybody who has done it. DRD's claim process is really, really simple. You take a photograph of the pothole, you take a photograph of the damage to your car, you put in a couple of estimations for either repair or replacement. And the beauty about my wee van with the OZ wheels, can't get them from anybody other than MSRT. Price of an 18-inch wheel, I didn't think was too bad. It was like £280 plus VAT for one 18-inch wheel, but then the cost of a tyre on top of it. So for me going through that pothole there, it's going to be probably a claim about 500 quid in for.
That's mad, isn't it?
And what would it really cost to send out a couple of guys with some asphalt in a bucket to fill it up?
And you're likely not the only guy who claimed for that pothole.
And
that's a good point. That pothole, I'm sure somewhere in a spreadsheet there will be that pothole has cost DRD
8, 15, 25 crashes, or where bits of damage. Like the photos you made as a pretty major looking ones.
Yeah,
but so at least £500 for me compared to the cost of just going on and fixing that one hole in the road.
Yeah, mad.
Does not compute.
Nope.
No. Gary, I get the feeling that's not the only thing that you've...
I'm in a kind of ranting mood tonight, so Per EV Network is my next one.
Oh.
And I'm not even an EV driver.
Did you get caught short with your ID4?
Almost. We were up northwest in the ID4 the weekend, and the last time we were up there, we were looking for fast chargers around the Derry/Londonderry region, and there were 4 chargers, fast ones, 150 or 200 kilowatt or whatever, right beside each other in the water side. 3 of them out of order, out of the 4. This was the last time, but we managed to get plugged into one of them. Had a queue for a while, not there, but got it going eventually. Went up this weekend and went back to them, thinking they're going to be fixed by now. Now all 4 are out. And there were a couple other chargers in town, but they were all kind of basic, slowish ones, so 6 hours to full charge. So got sorted in the end, but really, really bad up around that region. And I compared that to kind of when we went down south during the summer there, went to Connemara and stuff, and we had no problem in the south at all. So again, it seems to be somewhere where it's lacking development in NI.
Now, is there anything, as someone who doesn't have an EV of any sort of description, is there, like, obviously you'd have on the inbuilt maps and that there, I'm assuming they have all the different charging points. Is there any kind of real-time updating as to those?
Well, Google Maps does it, and then there's various different apps you can download. There's ESB, and there's ZapMap, and a couple of different ones.
ZapMap will generally tell you if the charger's bust or not, because they let people comment as well. So it will say updated by network if it's in use is a good one as well. So you can actually see, right, well, there is a charger there, but someone's using it.
Someone's on it, so okay.
Well, these ones unfortunately were shown as live, but then they weren't when we got there. But it just seems it's a common thing you hear about it a lot in England, and I don't know. Like, I'm not an electrician or a spark of any kind. I've no idea why, but they seem to break down quite a lot, these fast chargers.
I would guarantee you, because we work in IT, Gary, it's the friggin' IT that's probably bollocks.
Reboot it, basically. Fix it.
I would say that someone has put us, I have a new wee software update for that. Ah, shit, yeah. I've just bricked 500 chargers in the country. Probably something like that there.
I was just thinking about it the other day, and I thought, if you've ever used one, they're quite chunky. They're designed to last.
Yep.
You plug and play. There's nothing really. It's a touch screen. There's not a lot of moving parts in it. Yet they seem to break down all the time. Petrol pumps will go forever. Yeah, without having a fault. I just can't fathom why they're so unreliable.
I guarantee you, it's a flipping software or firmware issue or something like that. There, that's just extra complexity.
Yeah.
Don't let the IT people near it. It should just be like a big socket and a big switch, a key. You get a key and a switch.
But I think that is, again, it's still one of the things that is holding back some of us dinosaurs from making that move to
that's
EV.
A good point, yeah, because you not only have to have your infrastructure, but it has to be reliable.
It has to be reliable.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if I'm running in the red light as I am in the van, I know that I'm going to stop on the way home here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stick a tenner in to get me home.
Yep.
If I'm in an EV, I'm going, frig, I have to...
And if the pump's not working, there's usually another 4 or 5 in the same forecourt that you can
So I have to think, where am I going now to park and to put, what's 10 minutes of charge going to do? Is it going to get me back down the road home, or I'm going to be sitting...
So it depends on your use profile. So we were down south recently with the iPace, and we got charged fine, but it did add a wee bit of time to your journey here and there. We're like, right, okay, that super value is a 150 kilowatt charger. We'll go there for 20 minutes, half an hour, which we wouldn't have done. You just hopped on the road and went to Applegreen for 2 minutes.
So a bit more planning.
Yeah, so there's a wee bit of planning, and it doesn't. And the other thing is your 70p a kilowatt, so it's not really much cheaper than diesel.
Well, I did see as well, there was somebody on RMS was asking, for the cost of an EV fitter. So obviously he has an EV coming, and somebody's like, okay, it's going to cost you £1,300 or £1,400. Somebody else very quickly turned around and said, well, there's 7 or 8 months worth of diesel.
Oh, totally.
So I think when you do buy into the EV infrastructure, it's not for a year you're doing this year. This is something that you are looking for the longer term.
It's like a puppy, not just for Christmas.
It's not just for Christmas. What about the Jag? Are you still loving it?
Look, the Jag is one of the most comfortable things for doing. It has that JLR quality for doing a long run. Adaptive cruise on, 80 mile an hour, whatever it is in kph. Obviously, I'm on whatever the speed limit is down there. Who knows what it is? No one from the north's ever been told what the speed limit is in the M1 down south. But if we knew what it was, that's what I set the cruise control to, and it was very relaxing and like just it's so quiet, so effortless. Comfortable, completely effortless. It was the best thing to do it in, but it just had that wee bit of extra time.
But probably with kids and stuff like that, going and taking that 5-minute rest or that 10-minute stop isn't the worst thing in the world to do, to get them out.
You can plan around it. Like that's what we had to do. You just, you sit down for 15 minutes the night before you leave, kind of work out where you're going to be. Even you don't have to plan it for when you're on a low. You could get the 25% charge and then try and work in a lunch somewhere, which is what we did. So went and had lunch for 35 minutes, came back out, car fully charged. Didn't feel like you'd wasted any time.
Brilliant.
The only thing I found was strange down south. We were south of Dublin, the Wicklow area, and we were outside it was another Super Value or something, and there was only one fast charger, and there was a Leaf at it, and it was a Wicklow registered Leaf, right? And I was thinking, right, that's 70p. Now, in fairness, maybe the guy, it was the only place he could charge, but it was 70 or 89 cents or something for a kilowatt. Dear. Yeah. And I said to the guy, will you be long? He says, I just want to get it full. And I'm like, but my gut feeling is you live here. Like, it'd be far cheaper for you to plug it in the house.
But he could be in an apartment or something.
Well, he could be. But then...
I know you can get them on the street now, and they can be put in lockable cabinets and stuff. But
so exactly,
a lot of people probably still wouldn't have one in an apartment.
But here's the thing too. So if you had an apartment and an EV was expensive and difficult to run on the public infrastructure, the question would be why. Your EV doesn't really suit that use profile.
Look at my own scenario, or my wife's scenario, because it's her car. We have chargers in work which are free to use. So when we got it, we knew we'll put in a charger at home, but that's only there kind of as a backup. Most of the time, charging work doesn't cost a penny. And maybe people in apartments are in that same scenario. Their workplace might provide them.
Yeah.
So when they buy the car, they know they're going to have that facility during the week, and then you get a full charge on a Friday. Does you over the weekend most of the time.
Exactly. So I thought that guy, and this is the things you go through your head when you're waiting for a charger. It's like that guy probably only lives 2 minutes away, and he's hogging this charger. Yep. But and then I'm like, but why would he be paying so much to charge? And then I thought, are Nissan down here giving people bloody Nissan giving people free flipping years? He's probably got a free 1,000 miles of charging.
It's just a WAB.
Don't tell lions.
Yeah, well, the WAB feeling was high, and that's too. So you get into that's the other thing, because you're waiting for a charge. You get into a whole conversation with someone who's like, "Fuck me, I don't care." I've heard a lot of crying. We're just trying to get up the road.
Just want to speak to other like-minded nerds and going, I really, really, really don't want to speak to you.
Yeah, like
get back in your car and leave.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Make like a tree and get the hell out of here. Absolutely wonderful. So like those are the things that come with it. So if you can be tethered, so the easy way to put it is, well, if your EV can do 200 miles range, really it can do 160. You have a tether of 80 miles away from your house is about as far as you can go, and then you have to go back to charge unless you want to be at the mercy of the public charging. And it did make me think, am I wise? Are we wise going for a 2-car EV household? Well, plus a Lotus. So I'm still thinking I'm going to do it. I've pulled the trigger on solar.
Okay.
So that is one big change. So totally the wrong time of year when it's like dark all the time. But hopefully in the summertime that will yield should yield benefits. So we've went and and we were charging off the 13 amp plug. So we've got a Zappy charger now. So I can now fully charge the car overnight, which is a great job.
Have you looked into like battery?
Yes. So payback for the battery is the problem.
Yes.
So it can take a long. It's going to take 5 years for our system to pay for itself. We get batteries, it immediately turns the payback into 10, 12 years. So and I'm thinking, well, we have a bit of home working. So maybe an EV would be sitting at the house during the day, every day, during the week nearly. So sort of could use those, and the Zappy's smart enough to put excess solar rays into the car type thing. Okay. So that might, so that's my it's a man miles exercise. Yeah, so it's like all this stuff is man miles exercise, like buying a C63 and running as a daily man miles exercise.
There's always justification.
I know, may not make sense to anyone sensible, but who knows? Yeah, so EV network, Gary, up here is a bit of a shit show.
Well, maybe not around Belfast as much, but certainly up northwest I find it quite flaky. And having a car dealer family up there, I know EVs are not something that they get many inquiries about, so maybe there's just not a huge market for them in the northwest, and then as a result there's not many chargers.
Sorry, as you can hear, we have treats, and I'm just having with some Christmas themed buns.
We're talking about infrastructure and your stuff in your face. Serious talk here.
It's very like we live in the area of Belfast, so we don't have to use the infrastructure. So and if we didn't, if someone was up visiting, they probably had a totally different picture. Hollywood's really good. Have you ever used the chargers in Hollywood?
The petrol station, the big massive bank limb. That's
300.
Somewhat like it reminded me of some of the Apple Greens as you go down the M1, which have really good chargers as well. It's a good setup there. But I guess that's probably they were thinking ahead for airport people and people come back from holidays and pick up the cars.
So Maxall and the likes of the Henderson Group and stuff, you do see a bit of that's private investment. And all I can think is there must be decent kickback off the. I don't know how much they can sell.
Well, there has to be.
They have to make. They have to make. And that's a commercial reason for them to do it. They're not just doing it for the goodness of their heart. People go in and buy a bag of Revels. Although, have you seen the price of a bag of Revels nowadays? Like, you know what I mean. So
that was my rants. Basically, fix the roads and fix the charger network.
I like your wee rants.
I'm happy.
I like your wee rants. Changes things up a wee bit. Well, my rant, I actually don't have any rants.
Good.
Apart from car insurance. So the M3 obviously was, for some silly reason, I've got my insurance coming out in December time. And the renewal came up. I've been with Adrian Flux for the last couple of years with it. The reason I went with Flux was because they cover modified cars. They're almost made for modified cars. And they give me a guaranteed payout that should something happen to the car. Grand. Price over the last couple of years, everyone knows insurance has gone up a wee bit, but it went up by another £140, £150 this year.
Are they listeners, or are you going to get a cancellation email after this goes live?
It'll be interesting. But so my renewal came up and it was, I think, £140, £150 more expensive. My argument is I've had another year driving on my belt, another year's no claims. I'm not getting any younger. I'm not really in the boy racer demographic anymore, even though I like to think I am still with a yellow car. So I phoned them up and said, look, can you justify the difference, why it's gone from £600 something to £750 or £760? And of course you get, obviously the computer says this, that and the other. Anyway, long story short was they were able to reduce it by £40 or £50. So that put me in the notion then of doing a bit of shopping around. Put a message out to a few guys in M3s and that as well, and a couple of companies came back, Admiral being one of them. So sent Admiral an email or went onto their online thing, went through the things, and because the car is modified and obviously I want to keep all modifications declared, then it turned into a phone call. So that was fine. Where it gets interesting though is so the lady I was speaking to from Admiral, she was really helpful, and she said, have you been on any compare the market sites? And I goes, no, I haven't. She goes, are you sure? And I goes, yeah, like you're the second person I've spoken to about it. Adrian Flux was the other one. And she was able to tell me that on the Monday previous, she could see some searches based on my name, my address, my date of birth, and the car in question. So it turns out that Adrian Flux have been phoning or been on the car, the comparison websites themselves.
You mean you rang an insurer and then they went and checked the car comparison sites? What? Why?
Why? What? Why me or why them?
What were they doing?
That's the bit I find interesting. So Adrian Flux, who I would have assumed would have been this big, huge insurance company, and they underwrite everything themselves. It turns out that Adrian Flux had been going to the Go Compare sites and whatever else to see could they get a better policy than Adrian Flux were able to give me themselves.
I wonder, is that automated? I wonder, does it do it automatically? Do they do like a market research thing to make sure that they're...
Power BI tool running somewhere?
I don't know, but I find it interesting.
Okay.
I
Talk to Adrian about this.
Yeah.
I just found it really interesting that Admiral were able to tell me that there had been live searches 3 or 4 days previous to that.
I wonder, is it like a soft credit check type thing, the way that type of thing?
That was what actually made me wonder, because obviously there's, I can't imagine there being any credit references out there, but I just found it really interesting where,
Maybe it's better to catch out the bullshitters who say, I was just quoted £200 from Egg or whoever happens to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I said I found it interesting anyway. Had 2 other companies came in then, and I've got insured for £520, again with all modifications declared, and with a £25,000 guaranteed payout. So there we go.
It's interesting. I've noticed on the Facebook groups for the M4 owners, the M3 owners recently that I'm on, there's quite a lot of guys selling up because their insurance has doubled this year on the cars for no particular reason. No crashes, no claims. Just seems to have gone up. I don't know if that's as bad over here, but in England certainly there's a lot of complaints about it.
Look, it's part of the whole general cost of living too. Like it's probably the straw that broke the camel's back, maybe.
Yeah.
As well, you look at the price of cars now too, have taken a horrible thump.
Fuel.
Price of fuel, people's mortgages going up through the roof and all the rest. Suddenly, car payments and insuring
cost
and all the rest.
Yeah.
It's mental. Well, I'll give you an example of that. So the last shape of Range Rover from 2014 is the L405.
Yep.
Last year, they're about early 20s would be the cheapest one. You can now buy one of them for about 13 grand.
Wow.
Sudden drop.
It's not unbelievable for like a 2014 full fat Range Rover. Something that looks Lord of the Manor.
If you can pick up a decent one with warranty on it for that kind of money.
Well, now decent with warranty. I was on the low to high. When you look on the Auto Trader and you do low to high, and you're looking at a 13 grand L405 Range Rover, and you scroll 2 down and there's an ad-in for one at 97. It's like, it's just what I'm looking for when I'm looking at bargain basement cars.
It's time for a BCA check.
It's funny. So there's a friend of mine, Pat. Pat had a Mercedes E-Class and lifted water. Insurance paid him out $5 grand, so it's a 12, 13-year-old E320. Pat isn't the sharpest tool sharpest chisel in the toolbox, so he loves old Range Rovers. So Pat went and bought himself a $3.5 grand Range Rover. He didn't last the weekend in it. So he was told not to do it, not to buy it, and he goes, but I love him, mate, I love him. He didn't last the weekend in his $3.5 grand Range Rover.
I did laugh. There was a lovely story in RMS. I'll say lovely. That's not what I mean. But it did give me a chuckle chuckle at unfortunate circumstances, laughing with someone rather than at someone. The Range Rover was way getting fixed. It had been delivered home. They were out. Someone had stolen it. And it was way getting fixed. Someone had stolen it, and it was found broken down a mile down the road. Which is
Andy,
just wonderful.
Can I break your heart here?
Yes.
The cheapest Range Rover BCA, a Land Rover, Range Rover Sport, 2.7 TD V6 of 200,000 miles, with an essential check needed, £960.
Oh, hold on.
Estimate.
That's That is a old shape Range Rover
it's
Sport.
probably a non-runner.
So we need to be.
What year did you want to come out?
20 Sport out. So yeah,
20, take Sport out. Yeah, 'cause it's
2010 to 2014 would have been the facelift in them.
20. No, it's the 2014 onwards. I'm talking
24.
about.
Okay.
So 2013, I think, and it's range. It's probably Range Rover series.
Not a Sport.
It's not a Sport. No, full fat.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Yeah, say 2013, 2014 onwards. Someone will be shouting, the L405 come out on the 29th of October 2012. Guys, come on now. But, so we'll have a look on BCA here and see what their... that must be the last of the old shape there. Is that 2013 cars? No, that's 2010. So we have a bit to go yet. And that's still the old car.
there you go.
12 grand. Cheapest
Holy
one
shit.
for Nest.
It's high mileage, but it's
That's
not
the
super high. It's
TDV one as well.
124,000. Yeah.
It's 124k on it. 4.4 SD8 Vogue
Good God.
in grey, 12 grand on and like they look
Not a bad looking car.
they are look impressive. Now this one here has a few choice extra splitters and things on it, which is a wee bit grim. Is that like a brown
that's
interior?
right down my street with the.
Oh, it's right up
see,
your
that's the
Strata,
TFT
like.
dash.
Yep.
I think it's black. It's just the shine of it.
It's got the shine of seats with 250,000 miles on it
Wow.
before it was plugged in.
Anyway, we'll
Yeah, but so the price of
That's-
stuff.
move on.
Holy shit, that's completely
Here.
shocked me.
Look, I haven't wanted to look too much, but Lotuses, you can get a great deal in an Emira at the moment. Well under list for a car with a couple of thousand miles on it. Mike,
How are C63s doing that on BC?
oh, but bad, really bad.
Just to ruin this Christmas here, considering he's laughing at people with broken down Range Rovers.
when I say my Lotus has lost a pile of cash, but here, there's no point in it. It's just
Here, listen, yeah.
I didn't buy it for that.
No.
I've been very, very lucky with other cars over the years. Very, very lucky that things have held their money, things have appreciated.
Yeah.
So it's all swings and roundabouts, and and do you know what? Bring on the good weather. And the Lotus hasn't turned the wheel in a while. See the state of the roads and the weather and all the rest. The last thing I had out was a track day. We talked about it before down at Mondello.
Have you sorted it?
No,
I say I'm the same. I'm actually kicking myself in the minute because I haven't driven the M3 in probably since then, September.
Wait to hear this, right? So how much was the road tax for the first year on the roads? It was like £1,800 for year one.
That's nuts.
For buying
What?
because you're buying a new car,
Buying a new car.
Oh, right.
luxury car tax and all this sort of crap here. So then I thought, I'll sort it. I'll get £900 back. Oh no, you get the percentage back of the standard rate. So they got like £300 back, and I was like, no, I've paid this as part of buying a new car.
Yeah.
So I may as well. It's paid.
Yeah.
It's just it's sunk
Yeah.
cost. It's gone.
Have it available if you want to take it out.
Exactly.
Someday.
And have I taken it out?
No.
No.
Because it's absolutely stinking out there. I cleaned it and it's sitting in the garage.
But after spending that, the first dry day you get, like a nice winter dry day, I would take it out.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. When the roads aren't crappy and, hopefully a nice day when I'm off work, coming up to Christmas or something like that, get out for half an hour
And
for a
that's
skill.
why I haven't ever sorted it in all the time I've had it. And during the last couple of winters, I haven't drove it once. Even when you had the good day, because even when it's a good day, it's not that good. Because see, by the time you get finished, you'll be probably like me. You'll want to wash it and clean it and put it away again so that it'll be ready. That's nearly too much hassle.
But the only good thing is, with roads a little bit greasy, it is good fun. to
Oh,
take
well,
on.
yes.
Yeah. Totally.
So,
Totally just backwards everywhere.
yeah.
But do you know what's also a good thing? Because it's on the C-Tech charger so much, it's a great thing those C-Tech
Yeah,
chargers
brilliant.
have like a quick release in case you forget to flip and disconnect your C-Tech charger.
You maybe done that? No, those C-Techs are brilliant.
Yep, great job. And funnily enough, people have problems with those Lotuses because of low battery, and low battery is a massive
Yeah.
thing with the
Fix brains and things and all.
I think, and again, come back to what I said about your man Nico. After thousands of pounds worth of repair bills and whatever else, it turned out it was a frig battery was causing all the problems with his Ferrari. And I think that is essentially the problem with modern supercars, modern hypercars like what you guys have. There's so much controlled by the battery and voltage.
So many microchips, basically.
And cars not being driven, so voltage drop and all the rest. So funnily enough, the Merc, but it's driven daily, is it had an auxiliary battery warning. So, but I was able to buy an aux battery because they're all the same across the range. It wasn't specific to the C63. It was like 50 quid, 10 minutes to fit.
Yeah,
it was dead handy. So, but yeah, nothing's infallible. Like,
nope.
But anyway, Gary, please pick up. Tell us something good. Is there something internal combustion and exciting coming?
I don't know. This is more of a question than a kind of opinion here. I keep seeing ads on Facebook and on motoring sites and things for the new MR2 and mock-ups and so on. But I was Googling it earlier and I could not find anything solid other than Toyota are chatting about plans to release one.
Well, I would believe it because they've brought out so many great, the GR86 and the GR Yaris and all the rest,
Exactly. But got me thinking, because we were at the Classic Show and we were chatting about MR2s. You've had one, Ross, quite a catching one a few years ago.
Loved it.
And we saw a couple at the show and we haven't been on our radar for a couple of years because they've kind of disappeared off the scene. And we were just chatting about, they were good fun. The turbo one was quite a rocket ship and... Still a good looking car. Remember the red one we saw at the Classic Show? Quite, I think it had been repainted and quite clean all round.
Stunning. And there was a couple of guys in RMS have had lovely ones.
Yeah.
As well. Even quite recently, I think there was a couple of guys had a couple of like a barn find one and had appeared.
I think they're a very timeless car. Again they were off their time, but I don't think they dated. I just think they're a really, really nice looking car.
I have great memories of driving them. Almost in period, they drove really well.
Yeah, they were tight on the road and kind of good feedback and stuff for them. So hopefully they do bring one back.
Snappy, yeah.
But it's good to see Toyota, are doing stuff like this because other manufacturers are kind of shying away from coupes now and stuff. Like there was chat about the Integra coming back, and they kept showing photos of the front end, remember, and then it turned out to be a 4-door variant. It wasn't the 2-door based on the DC2 or the DC5.
Well, Toyota have threatened to bring out a facelifted version of the GR Yaris with 300 horse and an 8-speed DCT.
So,
which
I don't need no Yaris to beat me.
It would really beat you then.
It mighty
really
little
did.
hatch if it did.
I think they're a mighty hatch anyway. They Gav of RMS, Shetland Islands Gav, he got rid of his Alpha and he picked up the GR Yaris. And he drives it properly and he has fun in it. He'd done a European trip on it as well. But as he said himself, he says it's just the perfect back road car. Couldn't think of anything better.
I really do miss mine. And seeing it again, we were at that Classic Show and we saw there was a couple of GR Yaris. GR Yaris doesn't look out of place beside Integrale or a UR Quattro or something like that. It's just they're just all out of the same mould.
Just got that kind of muscular, short, small hatched kind of look.
Just big fat arches on them. I think honestly, I think they're
aggression.
I think they're a beautiful wee car.
Yeah, no, absolutely class. I would definitely have another one.
So yeah, hopefully we'll see an MR2 then. Now they're a different animal entirely, a bit more svelte kind of thing.
Midship runabouts too.
What's the thing? Would it be a midship now? Would it be a hybrid? Who knows?
It'll be a hybrid, guarantee it. It's the only way they could do it.
Unless they put a GR Yaris drivetrain into it or something like that. I was surprised they didn't put the GR Yaris drivetrain into the GR86.
Yeah,
would have been nice, sweet turbocharged rear wheel drive rather than the Boxer. But here, if anyone could do it, Toyota will do it. They're doing no wrong.
Yeah,
they can't really build a good EV at the moment, but that doesn't matter. I don't care as long as they keep building like rally cars and homologation specials. More power to them. But anyway, Ross, anything else yourself?
Very little. I'm just here to look good on the podcast.
Well, on that note, Merry Christmas, everyone, and
thank you, because it's I know certainly for me, I love this. This is a bit of fun, and us three guys meeting together, talking shit for an hour and a bit about something that we're all still, after all these years, passionate about, and the fact we're able to have a chat, have a discussion for a couple of hours that gets people engaging, gets people send a message. That I love that there, so I'm sure you do as well.
You bring a tear to a glass eye.
Yeah. No, it's good to get together, and hopefully next year we'll try and get a good few more guests on the show.
Yes, there's a couple in the pipeline that if they do come off this year or for 2024, it'll be
Well,
interesting.
I
Listen.
was just thinking there, Clarkson, Hammond May are now unemployed, so we could
Aye.
probably get them someday.
We could, so we need a trip to Diddley Squat. The smallest cog is the hamsters. Where's James May live? I don't know.
I don't know. He's cooking now, so he is.
He's cooking everywhere.
He's cooking.
He's the Master Chef Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So,
So, like and subscribe. You'll find us everywhere at RMS Motoring. And thanks for listening. Thanks to Gary Riley and to Ross Annett. And remember, there was no warranty. This was sold as seen.